Hey, what's up, guys? It's Count Chocula, and I just got back from seeing Superman v Batman Dawn of Justice. Just wanted to give fair warning before I get started that I might touch on a few spoilers of the movie. So, just wanted to give fair warning on that before you continue watching this video. Now, this movie's been hyped for the last 3 years since Superman Man of Steel, and everyone knows that there's a lot riding on this movie as far as the DC Cinematic Universe is concerned. Let's get right into it. Now, some of the main controversies of the movie were the actual casting of the movie. We had Ben Affleck as Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. And let me just say that Ben Affleck steals the show as Batman. They really nailed Batman. It's a darker, more brutal, it's an older Batman. They say he's been fighting crime in Gotham for around 20 years. He has some really good scenes, training to encounter Superman. One of the coolest scenes in the movie, as a matter of fact, is the training sequence where they show him getting ready to battle Superman. They've got Jeremy Irons as Alfred this time, and the two have a great chemistry together. I mean, it's really well done. We're probably going to see a Ben Affleck Batman reboot of the franchise, which I think at this point, after the hardcore fans have seen this movie, they might be looking forward to that more than an actual Justice League movie. And this movie is set up to be a precursor, to the Justice League. I'll get back to some of those positives later. One of the big negatives of the movie is Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. The way they had Lex Luthor in this movie is just terrible. He's just not a good villain. The way Jesse Eisenberg plays him, kind of a twitchy, neurotic Lex Luthor. I know they're trying to do a younger version, like a younger CEO, like a hipster. Kind of like it's kind of ironic that Jesse Eisenberg play Mark Zuckerberg, and they make him kind of like a maniacal, evil Mark Zuckerberg. So I didn't really feel the character. I think most people that have seen the movie feel the same way, and it just didn't work. Lex Luthor's not my favorite character anyway, but it just did not work in context to the movie. I didn't find him menacing. Any attempts at humor in this movie, which there are very few, came from the Lex Luthor character, and to me, it just didn't go over. People were actually laughing, not not with the character, but they were toward the end of the movie. People in the audience were actually laughing at him about how ridiculous Jesse Eisenberg's version of Lex Luthor is in this movie, and unfortunately, it's a big drawback to the movie. But this movie's got more problems than that. Let's just say that. Another controversy was Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. They said she's too skinny to be Wonder Woman. I didn't really see that. I thought she was just fine as Wonder Woman. Actually, some of the coolest scenes in the movie are Wonder Woman scenes. Now, she's not in the movie a whole lot. At the end, she's obviously in the climactic final battle scene in the movie, but she's in the movie as Diana Prince a little bit. They sprinkle her in here and there. It's kind of vague of why she's even there. To me, just one of the many problems with the whole plot and the whole script of the movie was the fact that you don't really know why Diana Prince was there. Let's talk about the story a little bit. Like I said, if Batman wasn't on the screen, the movie really suffers, and it's really bad because Henry Cavill's back as Superman. He's fine as Clark Kent Superman. He's Clark Kent for a little bit in this movie, but they don't really give him a whole lot to do. He is the focal point of the story because the big controversy of the story is should humankind trust an alien, with that much power, and can should anyone have that much power? And it's basically an issue of trust, and they kind of go on and on and on the first half of this movie about this. Now the movie is 2.5 hours long, and they could have really cut out about 20 minutes of this movie. It would have made it a better movie because the storyline's hard to follow. Um, there's a few scenes with Bruce Wayne where he has some like nightmare flashbacks of what's happening. He's traumatized by his parents' death, and there's like one part of the movie where he's having like a post-apocalyptic dream, and you don't even really realize that it is a dream, until until a little bit later on. But it was just really out of place. And there was a few sequences in the movie that just seemed really out of place. Now I heard that the original director's cut of this movie was 3 hours long, and you can tell this movie's been chopped up, it's been cut, and it's been, they've really tampered with it to try to get it to work. Unfortunately, the story as a whole kind of fails. But I'm not saying that this is a terrible movie by any means. If you're a hardcore fan and you're going there to really analyze the story, to analyze the script, and to be to hold this movie to super high standards, you're going to be very disappointed in this movie. Like I said, a lot of the storyline is just not good. It's rushed. There's a lot of parts of the movie that feel forced. One of the main plot points of the movie is there's kind of a race to find this mineral that, I guess there was a mineral discovered. We all know it's kryptonite, but they refer to it as the mineral that's discovered that's poisonous to Kryptonian DNA, and it was found on the crashed Kryptonian ship that's still like covered up in the heart of Metropolis. Now, of course, Lex Luthor just he pulls a few strings and gets access to this ship, like no problem, and then he also gets access to General Zod's corpse, and so there it kind of builds to the ending villain. Everyone knows it's Doomsday, but it just some of the details of how Lex Luthor gets Doomsday created. It's really vague. It's really kind of silly the way they do it. All of a sudden, he enters the ship for the first time, and then voila, he's a master of Kryptonian technology. I guess he he taps into the archives of Krypton. So, but anyway, I found that part, it's just kind of ridiculous. And Doomsday's kind of an afterthought. He's just kind of put in there for we need something at the very end of the movie for like a climactic in battle with a monster, and there's no build up to Doomsday really. The first half of the movie, if you hadn't seen the trailer, you wouldn't even know that Doomsday is even a part of the story or part of the plot line. So it's really bad storytelling. It's a great movie as far as style. The action is great, but the storyline, it just suffers. And I think this is a trend with Zack Snyder movies. But I thought Superman Man of Steel was decent. I thought the story was decent. It flowed better. Of course, the main sticking point of the movie was the battles with the Kryptonians and all of that. And the same is with this movie. The Superman Batman confrontation is awesome, but the way it's resolved is ridiculous. It could have been a lot better. These characters, their motivation like stops. It stops on a dime and it does a 180 at certain times in the movie, and it just doesn't make sense. And it just kind of leaves you scratching your head. It's like this movie could have been so much better than it is. As far as the Justice League story, you do get little samples of the other members of the Justice League. You get Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash. Green Lanterns, there's no reference to Green Lantern in this movie. Pretty sure they're wanting to stay clear of Green Lantern after that epic failure. I'm sure he'll be down. They may reintroduce that character down the road if they do, in fact, make a Justice League movie. I'm sure. The rumor is he's not going to be in the first Justice League movie if they do end up making it. that maybe they'll introduce the character in the second one. But you do see a little video clip of the Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman. The Aquaman part is kind of cool. I mean, it's only a 10-second scene, but it's really cool. But it doesn't really fit within the story. It's really lazy storytelling in this movie. I think they feel like they had to plug in a little bit too much of the movie instead of just focusing on, the issue at hand with, Superman being the alien, Batman doesn't trust him, and then Clark Kent sees the other side of it where he doesn't agree with the vigilante methods of the Gotham City Batman, and but that in itself would have been enough to get these characters to clash. But they have to throw in some ridiculous Lex Luthor plot line that this was all his master plan, and it all just fell into place. The timing just miraculously just all fell into place, and it was all part of Lex Luthor's plan regarding the kryptonite, regarding Doomsday, regarding Batman and Superman fighting each other. And I thought the way that he coerced Superman into confronting Batman was just ridiculous. It was really bad, that part of the story, and it was a little disappointing. The finale of the confrontation between Superman and Batman was kind of ridiculous. I mean, here Batman is obsessed. He's having nightmares about getting rid of this alien. He's worried about a post-apocalyptic world, where these Kryptonians have destroyed the world, and all of a sudden, he just has a change of heart. In 5 seconds, oh my God, we're friends now. It's kind of ridiculous. There's a lot to talk about, good and bad, in this movie. It's hard to overlook the flaws of the story. It really drags the movie down. But that's not to say that it's an absolute terrible movie. Anyway, I'm still recommending that you go see the movie. Like I said, it's not a total waste. The story's lacking, but the style and the visuals, the battle scenes, that's what's important to you. You're probably going to come out of the theater very happy. But if the backstory matters, if the details of the plot matter, you're really gonna dislike a lot of this movie. So I think a few things they could have done to make this movie better. For one, I think they should have come out with the Wonder Woman movie first, and then provided a little bit of fill-in information regarding the Justice League, where they could scatter that out between multiple movies instead of kind of forcing it into this movie. I think they should have gotten rid of the Lex Luthor character, or had a more build up of Lex Luthor's motivation of why he hates Superman, because that's really one thing they don't really touch on in the movie. He's like everybody else. I mean, half the public adores Superman, and the other half, they don't trust him. They think he might be a menace. So you don't really get the true motivation of the Lex Luthor character of why he really hates Superman. So I mean, I think we could have done totally without the Lex Luthor character, and they could have used more of that time to focus more on the confrontation, the build up between Batman and Superman's and their different ideologies. To me, that's how they could have made the movie better. But I'm still going to recommend the movie. I still found myself at times having fun through the movie, but just the bad storytelling, the lack of flow, the poor editing is really noticeable through the movie, and it really deters from the enjoyment of the movie. But if I were to give this movie a final score, I would give it a 78 out of 100. So there you go, guys. That's my final take on the movie. Let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. I tried to keep it a little bit vague as to not to spoil too much. And for those who haven't seen the movie yet, go see it for yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.